Thank you for checking out crypto.chartguys.com, the source for technical analysis in the cryptocurrency world. We are proud to announce our own crypto alert system designed to give you the most critical technical trading information possible no matter where you are. Keep your eyes on the market with mobile or email alerts for MACD crosses, RSI levels, and even inside bar alerts for dozens of coins across multiple exchanges. New features and proprietary ChartGuys indicators are already in development. Our alert system is very easy to customize and utilize, so don't hesitate to sign up for the most effective crypto trading tool on the market at crypto.chartguys.com. Hey everyone, hope you're doing well this fine weekend. We're going to be looking at the big three as usual, covering where we stand in regards to looking for the weekly higher low to form. And then tomorrow we'll go live and look at the altcoins and do some Q&A like we usually do. Let's try and get this video to 1,000 likes and set the record. If 1 out of 9 of you can give a like, we'll get to 1,000 and that will be wonderful. And I got a new shirt. Got all the crypto on it in a Fibonacci circle. And that shows my support for cryptocurrencies, not playing any favorites, and supporting the space as a whole, which is what we need for general adoption. So checking in on Bitcoin, this is the daily chart, and we're still pulling back. And in order to change this trend, we're not going to do it straight from our low. So we hit our low, and we're trying to bounce. The last lower high on the daily time frame was all the way up at 8,880. So there's a range of just about $1,000 between our low on the daily, our last lower high. If this trend is going to change on the daily time frame, we need to set a lower high, a higher low, holding that low of 7,927, and then break the lower high pattern. As soon as that happens on the daily time frame and the trend changes, we then become confident that our weekly higher low has been set. So at this point, we're still looking for this weekly higher low to be set. There's not much indication that it has been set, again, because the daily chart is not giving us significant follow through. If this bounce at this point was up at exponential resistance, up in the 8,500s, then I would say, okay, there's a pretty good chance we're going to consolidate and form a higher low. But this bounce is weak enough at this point that it could be a bear flag that just leads to another lower low. So we have to be prepared for either scenario. If this weak bounce falls apart and we lose the 4-hour higher low pattern, we look to come back and test our recent low. If this bounce follows through and gives us a daily higher low and a higher high into next week, then we're going to be looking for our weekly higher low to be set. At this point, where we stand right now, the bulls need another 4-hour higher low. We formed one this morning with a little bull flag. We'll go over that in just a moment. But we formed a base of support at 8,152, and the bulls are looking to form a higher low compared to that level. And right now, 8,216 is trying to be that higher low. But again, same thing that I just said on the daily time frame, but with different time frames. We're not confident that our 4-hour higher low has formed until the hourly time frame changes the trend with a lower high, higher low, and a higher high. Because the last lower high was at 8,336, and the odds that we're going to pull back here and just V-shape recovery to break the lower highs is not likely. Same thing like the daily chart needs a lower high, higher low, and higher high to change the trend and make us confident that our 4-hour higher low pattern has formed another higher low. So the entry that we had this morning, and if you're not following us on Twitter, we are at ChartGuys, but posted this morning some early morning bull flags on the 4-hour time frame, looking for continuation, entered ETH position on overnight healthy consolidation, bulls looking for continuation to higher highs in the next few hours. And that was at about 5 a.m. this morning. Woke up at 5 a.m. with the sun and saw, well, before the sun, saw that we were seeing healthy consolidation. So just to review what made me confident in that entry, we had pulled back. We saw a little lower high and lower low, but it was nice and contained. And we looked at the 4-hour time frame. And again, we were just looking for the bull flag pattern, which is just a little parallel channel of healthy consolidation on low bear volume after a bull move. So this was the little flag after the bull move. And that was the follow through that we got this morning. So I made an ETH entry in the low 690s. We're getting back to about my break-even point. I did lock in some profit, but I am letting this trade ride a little bit longer. I'm waiting for the break of the 4-hour higher low pattern. That will make me exit the trade. So I'm being a little bit more lenient on this current trade because of the potential that we do see a shift and some follow through on this 4-hour time frame. Because again, this consolidation right now on the 4-hour chart, declining bear volume, still maintaining a higher low, and the bulls need to defend the support. So if I were looking for a bullish entry in Bitcoin, which I'm currently not, I've got all the position that I want, and I'm not going to add to it at this point. But I would be looking for an entry here to be playing off of the previous support level of 8,152, just because it's a clear stop level and the risk to reward is pretty favorable. We just dropped down, let's see, into the 8,240 range. So to get stopped out, it would be $90 to get stopped out. And if we were going to see continuation, that's at least $150 of continuation. So the risk to reward, if we get continuation, is about 2 to 1 if we are able to break to further follow through. But as we can see, we're down at the low of this consolidation, and it looks like Ethereum just dumped significantly. Missed that opportunity. That's where some phishing bids get filled. We just dropped under, we just had a $10 drop in a couple minutes there. So let's look at the 2-minute time frame. Just a ton of bear volume coming in and absolutely crushed. And look at, there it goes again. So seeing some, I need to stop the video right now because I'm going to place some buys and hope to catch some phishing fills. So we just saw some flash crashes on ETH where we just dropped all the way down to 678 and then rocketed back up $12 in seconds. And just looking at it on the 1-minute time frame, these are the kind of orders where if you have, you know, the fact that we had the 15-minute RSI already oversold, if you put in some orders down here and you know that if they're going to get filled in the next couple of hours, we're going to be at extreme oversold levels. So I just missed getting any of those fills. But there were 2 quick flushes down and some decent fill opportunities down at those lows. And it happened on Bitcoin as well. And right now it looks like it's only happening on GDAX, which you can see the big bear volume, the big lower wicks. So now what I do in response to this is I watch, okay, was this, you know, bulls running for the exits and just bailing? Or is this stops getting triggered before the bulls show back up again? So right now I'm watching the amount of bull volume on a potential recovery, and I'm watching to see can the price head back to the upper 8,200s and shake off that bearish action, because we do still have 4-hour higher lows on Bitcoin. Ethereum flushed down harder, so its 4-hour higher low pattern has broken. But if we check out what Ethereum looks like on Bitfinex, the 4-hour time frame, again, those flushes didn't happen. So technically speaking, I have to take that with a grain of salt and say that, you know, we're still in a higher low pattern on the 4-hour time frame elsewhere, and it's just on this one exchange that ETH is not. So again, this is definitely a more tricky scenario and something to be paying close attention to, but going to be watching how the next 15 minutes of recovery go, if Bitcoin can turn things around or if we continue to fade back down to the low 8,200s. And that tells us that it's definitely a red flag for the bulls overall. But still 4-hour higher lows, and we'll see if that maintains. Again, no huge red volume, although we are going to see some high volume this current candlestick. The question is going to be, is it going to have a long lower wick from the bulls recovering, or is it going to be mostly bear volume? So Ethereum, the trade I entered today was on this consolidation, and I actually market ordered in because I woke up early and didn't want to, try and sit around and get the bids filled, because we had already started this bounce, and I entered right about here with some market orders, not a full position, but partial position. We saw the breakout. I took a small amount of profit in the 17s, but I wanted to let it ride a little bit longer for the potential that we see continuation on the 4-hour time frame. I also had a really good day, or a really good week in stocks this past week, so wasn't really in a rush to lock in profit. Wanted to let it ride a little bit longer for some higher risk, higher reward. Normally in that instance, I would definitely be locking in a lot of that profit, and in hindsight, obviously that was a better way to play it, but wanted to play with a little bit longer term mindset, and we'll see if that 4-hour higher low pattern is maintained on Bitcoin. So where we stand on Ethereum right now, again, I'm disregarding this lower wick, and I'm going to use the Bitfinex chart to make sure that the 4-hour higher low is still intact. If that level is lost, I will certainly exit the trade. But right now, this chart on GDAX is a little bit screwed up because of that long lower wick. So that's where we stand on Ethereum. Our resistance is 715.76. Bitcoin resistance is 8,390. And checking the ETH BTC chart, we're pulling back. We just made a bull break on the daily time frame to a higher high, but this is not the kind of reaction the bulls are looking for after a clear bull break. We're pulling back. The 4-hour time frame needs to maintain a higher low and see a bit of a bounce. Otherwise, we're going to be looking to potentially top out on this ETH BTC chart for now and set a weekly lower high. It's still early to call that, but if we come back down here and break 8241 support, this base that was just built, that's a red flag that the daily trend is changing and BTC is likely to gain some relative strength compared to ETH. So watching very close the 4-hour pattern and if the bulls can turn around this momentum right now. Checking in on Litecoin. Litecoin on the daily chart. Again, this is not convincing follow through at all. We're not confirming the bullish reversal candlestick from yesterday. And we look at these other names, Bitcoin. We have a ways to go until this, actually not long until this candlestick closes, but a big upper wick. We are not confirming the bullish reversal candlestick, and we're not giving the bulls confidence that this daily trend is close to changing just yet. So this morning, when we were up at the high of this candlestick, it looked pretty good. We're going to confirm the bullish reversal candlestick. We're going to head up to exponential resistance. But now at this point, by the time this candlestick on the daily closes, that is no longer the case. So Litecoin, 4-hour time frame, trying to maintain higher lows, still holding at this point. 133.25 is key support and 138.01 is key resistance. So at this point, bulls are just trying to maintain their 4-hour higher lows. And if they are lost, the bears are going to take back over on the daily chart, and we're going to head back to our recent low on the from yesterday. And we're going to be watching our RSI levels. The 4-hour time frame has a long ways to go before it's oversold again. The hourly chart does as well. So we could absolutely drop down to our recent low from yesterday sometime in the next couple of days. So bulls have to recover and keep this 4-hour higher low pattern. Otherwise, bears are close to taking back over right now at this point. So that's what we're looking at right now, and a nice little live action on ETH. You could see how quick that opportunity lasted, and anybody like me that was not already prepared with their bid orders set missed out. So again, that's an opportunity, and you might say, well, isn't it high risk to just put an order there and let it sit? Well, like I said, no, because if you have the 15-minute RSI already oversold, you know that, I mean, by the time we got to the low of this candlestick, that 15-minute RSI was down in the teens and probably close to single digits. So if you are around and I say, you know, I'm going to be within my computer's range for the next 5 hours, I can set a bid down there. If it hits, that's great because I know we'll be at extreme oversold levels. And if it doesn't, I'll just move it after a certain amount of time because the RSI profile will change on where we are in the setup. So that's where we stand, all about the 4-hour time frame and watching the recovery on this 5-minute time frame. And right now, Bitcoin's not seeing much of a recovery, so we do have to be cautious of the potential of this 4-hour uptrend being in jeopardy. So that's what we've got. I appreciate you all watching. I hope you continue to do good things. Nice to see the positive response to all the driving tips from yesterday. For today, rather than a do good things, we're going to be looking at just a little bit of a lesson in terms of the steps to learning technical analysis and what's so important. Really, the formula for me is education plus experience and repetition equals confidence, and confidence and consistency go hand in hand. So you start with the education. That took me 4 months. I did 4 months full-time every single day. I dedicated to learning technical analysis. I would say after 4 months is when it clicked for me and I started to get it down. I then combined that education, which is the book learning part and our courses and watching the daily videos, with experience and repetition. And again, that's the daily videos as well, the whole repetition part every single day, having an update to be watching. And experience is you playing with your own trades. And whether it's small capital or paper trading, you're getting experience, you're making mistakes, you're learning from those mistakes and moving forward. You're keeping the things that work, repetition, and you're ditching the things that don't work. And you're learning and finding your style and things like that. So all in all, education, let's say 4 to 6 months, and obviously education never ends. 8 years later, I'm still in the education phase. And experience and repetition, you want to be doing this for months as well, practicing and practicing. And the more you do these two things, the more confidence you have, and the more confidence you have in your trades, and the more consistency, they go hand in hand in the sense that, you know, if I'm confident and making money and everything's working well, I'm going to keep up those habits and keep it going. So you could compare this to a relationship, let's say. So education is learning about your new partner and getting to know them and things about them and spending some time together. Experience is going a little bit more in depth, experiencing things together, growing with each other, things like that. And it leads to a successful relationship. And if you try and do this, skipping a step, whether it be, you know, not getting to know the person and you move in with them after a month, that's a recipe for disaster. Or maybe, you know, you get to know them really well superficially, but not experience things with them and grow with them, then that leads to a relationship that, you know, doesn't really have the depth and the long-term longevity. So you need to definitely focus on both of these things, and that's the end result. But again, time is the factor not listed here, and time is the variable that's going to differ for everybody, whether you are able to put in 1 hour every 2 days because of work, or whether you're putting in 6 hours a day. Again, for my education, when I say 4 months, that's 7 days a week, maybe 6.5 days a week, and 6 hours a day. So if you're putting in less time, it's obviously going to take much, much longer in terms of getting, comfortable and getting it down so it all clicks. So some motivation to keep with it. And I also want to point out, not everybody is cut out to be a trader. Some people cannot control their emotions. Some people cannot follow their own rules. Some people have an addictive personality. So it's definitely important to try it and stick with it as long as you can. And obviously there comes a point where you might have to say trading is not for me. But in my opinion, that needs to come months down the road after you give it ample time. And, everybody says the statistic. First of all, where does the statistic come from? I've never seen any kind of study or any proof. 90% of traders fail. Says who? Show me some data there. And also the second part of that is who qualifies to be in that 90%? If I sit down and say, I'm going to be a day trader and I start trading and 2 weeks later I blow up my account and I have no more money, am I part of the failed group? Well, if I am, obviously I'm going to fail. I want to know the stat of how many people fail as traders that have put in 6 months of consistent time and effort into education. Then I want to look at that study group. But again, that 90% number, everybody talks about it and gets thrown out there. I don't know if there's any validity to it. I've never seen any data behind it. It's just a number that everybody accepts as face value. Even if it were 9 out of 10, that means 1 out of 10 people can make a living trading. That's pretty good odds. Think of the odds of everybody as growing up, wanting to be pro athletes and us spending time in high school. The amount of hours my friends wasted on varsity sports in high school that didn't turn into anything. Yeah, it leads to good, structure and good habits and things like that. But the odds of becoming a Major League Baseball player and you're spending thousands of hours in middle school and high school and maybe even college to work towards that goal, when the odds of you succeeding there are less than 1%, probably less than 0.2%. So 10% sounds pretty good when you look at it that way. Either way, I'm done talking. I appreciate you watching. Have a great rest of your Saturday. Smash the like button.